Want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
It's time for Life Advice, brought to you by V8. V8 believes that making choices you feel good about helps you live well, like choosing V8 to up your daily veggie intake. V8 is plant-powered and provides minerals and antioxidant vitamins with no added sugar, a choice you can feel good about. Life Advice is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Okay, I got one, and then I'm going to do sort of a different thing here. I found, as I've moved so many times in a couple years here, I found a notebook from 2008 that had a to-do list on it. And I'm going to share that with everybody. So anyway, we'll get to it after we read this one. Bartending Golden Rules. Ryan, Kyle Cerruti, what's up? First time, long time. 5'10", 170. Sounds awesome. I'll keep this short. Just moved to Seattle for my second year of grad school at the University of Washington. The first year was online because of COVID, so I stayed in my hometown of Denver. Shout out Cherry Cricket. Yeah, all right, Cherry Creek. Get the jalapeno cream cheeseburger next time instead of the wraps, Ryan. I'll do what I want. I just got a job as a bartender. I do love Cherry Creek, though. I got a job as a bartender for the summer at a fairly upscale bar, although I've worked in restaurants throughout my life. This is a role I've never worked before, so I'm curious if any of you guys have any golden rules for bartenders, maybe even golden rules for bar patrons as well. Love the show. Would love to hear from you guys. He wants to hear from the guy that was on the Epic Tinder run. Did we do the Life Advice Tinder run guy? That was on the ESPN pod, right, Cerruti?
Rings a bell. Yeah.
Didn't we have him on? He was from Arkansas. He was like some mover and shaker. He did pretty well. And he just like, I'm addicted to sleeping with women.
Yeah. And he actually didn't really need advice. He seemed to be doing like very well, if I remember correctly. And that was the whole point. It's like, do you actually need advice on anything, or you just want to come on here and brag?
Yeah, that's what we felt like. He was actually okay. You followed up with him a few times, though, right? Because honestly, if you would just sit the profile of, that doesn't even sound like something I would agree to do. And then we just did it because we're like, let's see how it goes. And then, yeah, by the end of it, it was like, it felt like you just want to tell everybody how awesome you're doing with women.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think we were on some text. I think we were on some text threads. Now that I remember that. Yeah, he was a nice guy.
Yeah, you ended up liking him.
Yeah.
So we're not going to beat up on him too much, but it felt like that was the purpose of the whole thing. I'm surprised I actually did that. People are way more worried about West Texas Jake.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't emailed, I don't think. Kyle, you haven't seen anything from West Texas Jake, have you?
I have not.
Yeah. And trust me, if you saw it, you would know. Okay. Bartending golden rules. I mean, I've got a few. I only worked in one place that was considered nice. And even then, it was always late. So it was just kind of a late crowd. So it was like I was sitting there making Cosmos for people doing some tartar apps, right? So if this is an upscale place, I would just do your best to actually, like, if you've never bartended before, like, some of that stuff's actually a little complicated. Like, I used to be a loser about it when I got my first job, and I'd memorize every single thing, and I'd memorize all these drinks, and I was the guy who'd be like, hey, Russillo, how do you make a Harvey Wallbang? And I would know, even though I think I made one drink with Galliano ever in my entire life. But every bar has Galliano, or they used to have it. I don't think I noticed it. I haven't actually been checking the Galliano inventory in local establishments the last couple of years. I've definitely slacked in that area. So I'll get back. That's something I have to do for everybody that's listening. So I'm on that. As far as a bartender, golden rules just in general that apply to maybe everything is understand that you're a young guy. If you're in an upscale place, there's probably going to be women hitting on you because you're a safe harbor. All right. You are the bartender. You're not a patron. So like, that's the great thing about being a bartender. If you're a single guy, is that, you are not only providing the entertainment for the night and making sure everybody gets their drinks and all that kind of stuff. Everybody has to talk to you. So there's no awkward, like, you don't need to be an opener in this case. We're already in the fourth inning because you're behind the bar. But what we have to understand is that those people are the customer and that you are simply an employee and that you can't take advantage of. I'm just kidding. All right. Be fast, but not in a hurry. A lot like basketball. Be fast, but not in a hurry. And since you're new and it's upscale, there's probably some guy that wears vests that's been doing this a really long time, that knows everything, and he's got his whole routine down, and this has been his career and his life. have a lot of respect for that guy, all right? Because there's been 100 of yous that have come in and out of there. And, it'd be terrible if he's a jerk, but just defer to him, all right? And younger people seem to have a harder and harder time deferring. But if there's a lifer there at some nice place who's been behind the bar for a long time, just not saying he's always going to be perfect or she's going to be perfect, but just defer to that person for the first few months or so until you can kind of get your feet wet and figure things out, because you're going to be screwing stuff up. You're not going to know where everything is. You're not going to make a ton of stuff. You're going to screw up the register a million times. So just when people are kind of annoyed with you not knowing what you're doing back there, because bartending is very territorial. There's a weird ego thing behind it. And if there's like 2 or 3 guys that are pretty good at it back there and you suck because you're brand new, I still can't, like, if this place is that nice and you got this gig as a sophomore going to college, I don't even know how you got this. This is pretty incredible with no bartending experience. Just understand that their expectations of you are probably pretty low. Try not to confirm those on the first few shifts. As far as patrons go, don't yell, "Hey, buddy." Don't say what's on special. Don't order a round of shots and then say, "I don't know, you pick it." Don't ask to change the music. Don't double check your tab like we ripped you off. I mean, you can, but we didn't. And if there's a 26-year-old guy behind the bar that's a really surly dude because he's feeling like a loser, just give him a break. Give him a break. And don't put a cigarette out on his arm. All right. Okay, speaking of, anything to add to that? Sir, do you ever do any service industry stuff? I can't see you doing that at all.
No, I was always super intimidated by restaurants and bars in general, like working there. But I have a question for you, because you didn't really bring this up, but what about, am I an asshole if I ask a bartender, "Hey, like, what do you like?" Or what, like, like ask him what his special, because you ask him, "Hey, don't ask for the specials, blah, blah, blah." If I ask him like, "Hey, what do you like? What's good here?" Am I being a dick there? Am I being an asshole? Is he going to roll his eyes and be like, "This guy sucks," and make me the worst drink?
No, there's some places, like if you're a Senior Frogs, sir, you should ask what the specials are. Or Dick's Last Resort. Yeah, ask him what the specials are.
Noted. Okay. Because I was out to eat, like, what was it, probably last week or so, and there were 3 things that I wanted on the menu, and I asked the waitress, and I was like, "Hey, like, I'm torn between these 3," and I'm not like this. I'm really not like one of those annoying people at restaurants, so don't paint me that way. But I was really genuinely torn, and I asked her, I was like, "Hey, what's your favorite?" She's like, "I don't know, they're all good," and that was it. And I was like, "Oh, she really doesn't care."
I need to correct something here. Food, absolutely ask. Drinks don't.
Okay.
And I know people are going to listen to this right now and be like, "What are you talking about? I always ask for the drink specials." We're like, yeah, and all of us in the bartending fraternity are annoyed with you.
Okay, fair.
Now, look, there are some places that are super upscale, like, "Hey, we're doing this different thing today. We get a little ginger with a cinnamon floater on the top and whatever. You're never going to taste the booze. It's going to be $17." And you just be like, there's so many fucking ingredients in this thing that, it's kind of pointless.
It is food,
but it takes forever. And there's this huge ice cube ball, which I'll admit I thought was cool the first time I saw it. Yeah, we're gonna do some cedar smoke. We're gonna turn it upside down. We're gonna dump the whiskey there. We're gonna tear the basil in the right direction. It's the same fucking thing. And you're like, "Can I just have a Belvedere?" Okay. That reminds me though, because I had some friends that bartended overseas. It was part of my Jamaica connection when I worked there. And then they were trying to get me back to work overseas. And I was like, I shouldn't say overseas, it's Jamaica. Have you guys ever fantasized about that? Have you guys ever thought to myself, like, I'd like to work somewhere foreign in a foreign country?
Big time. Jamaica.
Absolutely.
Wait, Kyle, Jamaica?
Jamaica. No doubt. 100%. And I kind of have this vision of me, like, I've seen a couple movies where it's like, Mel Gibson in like a South American town or something, or just like, even like, DiCaprio's actually done I think maybe it was Blood Diamond, where he just got that, like, he was an American, obviously, but he's got that grizzled American look. And there's like a sort of a button down short sleeve open. Maybe he's a little dirty. I see myself kind of walking around a town, drinking $1 Red Stripes in a, bar with no air conditioning.
Did you see Blood Diamond or just the cover of the DVD?
Totally saw Blood Diamond. I'm just saying I dug his outfits. Maybe I would have a little more color in my shirts, but the same sort of button-down T-shirt deal.
Okay, guys, I just don't know if the plot of Blood Diamond would make me think of South American town.
How about Get the Gringo?
Jamaica? I mean, it's in Africa. Yeah, all right. So you think that you would do well in Jamaica. What's the career part of it, though? Because right now, this just sounds like a long vacation.
I'd like my days freeze because I'd like to be in a bar as the sun's up, actually, and actually as the sun goes down. So maybe maybe I drive Uber for my own schedule or something. I don't know. I'd like a cooler job than that, but I would like to have my days free and my nights free.
All right, so you'd like a lot of time off, flexible
Yeah.
schedule, and you'd like to be able to drink while you're working.
Maybe a bartender. No, I don't think so. Then I wouldn't want to spend so much time in bars. I'll get back to you.
All right, yeah, keep workshopping that. What about you, Cerruti? I don't know that I could see you as overseas guy.
Really? No, I was like Euro Cerruti for a while there. I've years ago looked into the €1 houses in Italy. You ever seen those before? Where you basically it's a kind of
I've
like
seen
a
the pop-up.
rundown. Yeah, it's like a rundown sort of old villa in the countryside, maybe next to a vineyard. And you can buy it for €1. I was like, what the heck? This is amazing. Why aren't more people doing this? Well, I looked into it, and you have to drop at least like $100,000 within the first year to improve said site. And I don't have that kind of cash, so I immediately my dreams were kind of squashed. But I don't know. It seems kind of interesting. I looked at this place just outside of Naples, and I'm like, yeah, what if it's next to a vineyard? I'm like, maybe I could take the vineyard over, become a wine guy, wear only linen, and that would be my life. And I would speak Italian, and it'd be great. And but I just don't have the cash right now. So maybe it's a future surety thing, but not right now.
Is it a hard deadline? Like you have a year to spend
Basically.
$100,000, or do you just have to the house has to look better?
Basically, yeah, there are I guess checkpoints that you have to hit along the way because they want you to come in and fix up their country. Basically, they want Americans to come in and fix up their country. So they flag hey, €1, like come over here. And I'm like, and idiots like me look at it and go, this is amazing. But yeah, there are these specific things that you have to hit. And all these houses are so old that
It's pretty much tear down.
Incredibly expensive to fix them in the first place. Some of them don't even have plumbing. So yeah, they're in sick places, but you'd spend so much money actually, renovating this place that it wouldn't even be worth it.
So those
dream squashed.
pop-ups that say live in an Italian farm or villa for $1 for a year.
Yep.
There's more to it, is what you're telling me.
There's a little correct. It is not. You can't just show up and be like, all right, here's my euro. Where do I live? What do I got? What are we doing? Hanging out in
This is
Pescara
so
for the
much
day.
cheaper than Positano. There's places in Salemi in Sicily saying it's $1. There's
Yep.
another one called
Pictures are probably beautiful.
Lorenzana in the Potenza province are offering shockingly low prices in order to draw new residents to their locations. I love what I've just found on Google. Can I buy? Can I still? I like this one. Can I still buy a house in Italy for €1? As if the deadline, like the moment had passed, and it's like, oh, you guys remember in 2018 when you could move to Italy and buy a house for $1? Like, yeah, they filled it up. It's done. I also love that Kyle immediately is like, what's the deadline? He's already thinking of the angles of what if I just rake the front yard and put a coat of paint on the front door, and then I'm there 7-8 months, and they're like, hey, you haven't hit your deadlines, and you were like, I actually didn't have a ton of
COVID got everything backed up.
just my mental health. I'm not.
I figured
in the right
Russillo
place
would
right
know
now.
a guy who could get it done for 40, less than 100,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that was I could do a lot of work myself, which is definitely not true as well. And I'd probably create a bigger disaster than I even want to get into. But yes, now there's too many rules. That's just the way it is.
No, but the beauty of this segment, what just happened here is amazing, because the first thing Kyle thought of was, how can I do it? And then just be like, hey, you didn't expect me to unpack my bags and get right to work here. Let me settle in a little bit. Let me settle in a little. Here's your $1. And then the town's having a meeting about Kyle. They're like, he hasn't done anything yet. And he's like, in the paperwork, it didn't say we had to, re-pour a foundation here by September. Relax. Relax.
Full circle. I end up on my favorite show, Judge Judy, and we hash it out.
You would be guilty walking into the room.
Yeah,
in Judy's
I
eyes.
would prefer Judge Mathis. He sees things my way a little better.
I always thought a good Jesus Mero skit would be, they should run footage of Judge Judy and Judge Mathis shows and not have the audio up. And then those two guys will just yell who's innocent or guilty as they walk in and then
Yes.
talk over it. So you don't have any audio, you only have video. And those guys, because I certainly wouldn't be able to get away with that at this stage of everything's gone. But I think those guys would be funnier and perfect for it. And I thought that was always a good segment idea.
By the
should
way,
talk to
I already
somebody.
do that when I watch the show. When they're walking down the aisle, I'm just like, oh yeah, he did it. No doubt. Look at that lip ring.
Right. You just couldn't have a white guy do that on the show. You
Yeah.
just would. It would
That's
not
true.
be
That's true.
approved.
Let's
so
not.
I think those guys are perfect for it. So I don't know. There you go. If that segment works, credit here. We know where it started. Okay, so this segues in perfectly to the end of the podcast, which is another long one. I found this to-do list from 2008. This is dated October 8th, 2008. And I bought this fancy journal, with a leather cover. And I definitely bought it in an airport because I was bored. So I was like, I'll buy something, I guess. And I think I remember what this trip was, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm not going to. All right. So here, are you guys ready for this? This is actually the only reason I'm doing this is hysterical. So this is 13 years ago. And I'll admit at this point, I'm still broke. I've been at ESPN a couple years, but I was, part-time timesheet guy making $100 an hour. I was doing some Celtic stuff. My apartment in Boston sucked. And I just turned 33. Yeah, I just turned 33. So I wasn't quite sure, I wasn't quite sure if any of this shit was going to work out. All right. Are you guys ready for this?
I can't believe you're sharing this. So yes.
Yeah, here we go. Pay bills by the 15th. Condo fees and taxes. It all started somewhere, didn't it? 1 year to West Coast. I gave myself I had a plan, a timeline that by October 2009, I would be moving to the West Coast. It actually took 10 years. Have option to go by October of 2009. And I wrote the date down twice. It was a very important date, apparently. I actually moved to Hartford later in 2009. So almost the same.
That's a little west, right?
Hartford was west of where I was. So not wrong
Yeah.
there, Kyle. Okay, take one step each day to fix this. Whatever this was, I think it was a general this. There was nothing specific. I guess I was simply saying fix this. All right, this is where it gets even better. Get back to 220. I guess I was below 220 pounds then, and I didn't like it. So it was like, get back to 220. The funny thing is I was 230 right in my late 20s, early 30s, but it wasn't a very good. I had a full face. I was strong, but it wasn't like, hey, that guy's awesome. 230. And then when I was working at ESPN and living in the hotel all the time, my schedule was so screwed up. I wasn't eating, but I wasn't eating all that great back then anyway. I wasn't an asshole about it. I wasn't like, 5 days a week Wendy's or something. Shout out to Wendy's. But I guess I got below 220. I didn't like it. Start Saturday morning fighting. All right. I remember this. I went to, because I'd done some Muay Thai stuff when I was younger. Again, not in that world, not even pretending. Do have a jacket though. Saturday morning. So I went to a Brazilian jiu-jitsu class on a Saturday morning in Boston, and I sat down, and the guys were like, you want to roll around? I was like, nah, I'm just going to kind of check it out. I want to see if I want to sign up. And then I watched how awesome everybody was. I did not sign up. Finish script. I did not finish the script. That script, whatever one I was trying to finish, I think took 7 years until I did it. Oh, wow. How about this? Get your sister a computer soon. And there's a check mark next to it. So I did buy my sister a
Nice.
computer.
Kick
even though I
ass,
probably
dude.
couldn't afford it. Yeah. Go to the dentist by the end of the year. I think I went to it the year after. I don't know why this is on here again. It says sort out taxes.
Uh-oh.
You're scarred, man.
Buy couch. I don't think I bought a couch. 'Cause
Even
I
when you were at
couldn't afford-
ESPN, you didn't have a couch in your place?
No, I had a leather couch I still had from Vermont that made it to Vermont, New Jersey. That couch was the nicest thing I owned probably at the time. But I guess I wanted another couch. I think it was because when it was one of those like pleather deals, and I thought it was sick when I was 25. And then I realized it probably wasn't all that sick, but it was a perfect sectional. Okay, what else we got? Oh, research possible move to Connecticut. So I was moving either to Connecticut or the West Coast because I'd been at ESPN 06, 07, 08. So this is almost 3 full years in. I got the gig with Van Pelt. It was announced in May of 09. Our first show was July of 09. So none of that stuff felt like it was on the horizon. And it wasn't even a year away. How about that? I was less than a year away from being technically the afternoon show co-host of ESPN's drive time radio slot. I was, let's see here. I was 7 months away from that announcement. And here I was saying, fix your taxes and write a script and move to the West Coast. Yeah, and buy a couch.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the other thing, because I didn't think it was working out at ESPN only 3 years in. I was just a massive fill-in guy, and it didn't seem like they liked me to come fill in, but nothing else. So I said, put together the package. The package is in quotes. So have all draft profiles done, have your TV tape, have your radio tapes, update resume. So I was making moves, whatever it was, but whatever the Russillo package, the entire, this is who I am. This is my work. So if it's 08, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm on my 7th year being in the career. It wasn't really working out, even though I'm feeling it at ESPN. Maybe from the outside, it felt like that. I didn't feel that way.
Wait, is there a Russillo demo tape out there somewhere that is in existence that someone could watch?
I don't know. I only have the beta copy of my demo for. We were supposed to do it one night. Van Pelt and I were going to do a Sports Center together. Well, that was the other thing. We were going to do a Sports Center together where they wanted us to anchor it, and only one person wanted it, and there was no way. The ESPN was like, no way are we doing that. Now they do all sorts of weird stuff, but to promote the radio show. I mean, look, my name wasn't on the radio show. They weren't going to let me anchor Sports Center. And honestly, back then, anchoring Sports Center was like a really big deal, and that was kind of like somebody described it to me as like sacred ground. You go, yeah, like I didn't deserve it. I didn't even have my name on the show. I wasn't even a full-time employee, so they weren't going to do that. But there was a demo tape, a beta thing that I put together of me doing 3 different stand-ups that are hilarious. Like one's these Olympic kayakers, another one's this enduro racing dirt bike stuff, and then another thing I think is a ski deal. And I'm just sort of talking, and that was my tape. That never got me a job. And then I had another one that I sent to ESPN, which was supposedly like 3 of my best segments from radio in Boston. And what I did was I just did 3 segments in a studio that was never even on the air, because I was like, I'm just going to hammer this in this audition tape. I'm not even going to use clips from the air. I'm just going to do this and say these are on air. And then I sent it. And the most surprising thing of it all was that ESPN ever listened to it, but they only listened to it because McShay and I were friends, and McShay had gotten hired because I sold his company to ESPN. And I was like, is there any way you can have somebody listen to a tape? And he goes, the only thing I can do for you is I can get you a job. I can make sure somebody actually listens to it. I'll find a guy and be like, hey, this is my friend. Will you just listen? And then he goes, but no one's ever going to call you. Like, you're not going to get a job there. And I was like, I understood, but I've just been laid off. So that was end of 05, 06. And the thing is that somebody did listen to the tape. So that was the start of the ESPN stuff. We can do that another time. Okay, so it was put together the huge Ryen Russillo package, the package, fixed car. There's a check mark next to that. I don't know that thing was ever all that fixed. We had old Dodge Durango entry level. Thought it was sweet when I bought it used. I was pretty fired up when I got that car. Could not afford it. Get ready to move. I just kept wanting to move here. There's one that just says research. I'm not sure if I did that or not. That was number 16 on the to-do list. Research.
As you do. Sure.
Couple
you
more.
do a lot of research. That's good.
Yeah. 17 was have $50,000 in the bank by when? This is amazing. Okay. But I think it says by then, 50,000 in the bank by then. So I think I was telling myself I had to save 50,000 over the next year. I saved 38, and
wow, dude, congrats.
I wrote out a tax check for 33.
Okay.
And then the other was work as much as possible. Yes to everything. Yes was underlined. So that's the to-do list.
I think this is like a perseverance exercise because you've done every single one of those things. Like, what haven't you done on that list? I mean, yeah, maybe you didn't do it in a timely fashion or the way that you wanted to, but every single thing. I mean, you fixed the Durango, you got a couch now, you moved to the West, you lived in Hartford for a bit. It just seems like you checked everything off on the list. Good for you, dude.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the only thing I didn't do.
Yeah, that's all right.
There's still time. There's a lot of places out there. I do have
Trying
one
to find
question.
the right one. Yeah.
My one question is, did you write this whole list at the same time? And do you think, if so, did you put a couple things on there that you already did so you could get some checks in?
No, I know exactly what happened. I was at a huge, big weekend with all the UVM guys out in the West Coast, and I had the flyback weirds after like 3 nights out. Because back then, I mean, you're going out every night. You were there visiting somebody. And so I had a moment in the airport where I was like, all right, enough of this shit. And I was like, it's time to write it all down and let's figure some stuff out. Let's have some manageable ones. Because when I was younger, I used to write down stuff that was absurd. Like, that's the old joke about the conversation I had with my father, where I was like, if I could just put 10 million together with some guys and get a minority stake in the Celtics.
Right.
And he was like, you need to maybe come up with some more obtainable
Try getting
goals.
a couch, right?
And that's, by the way, when I was saying that shit, it was like 6 years before I ever put that list together. By the way, the Celtics thing, if I had put together 10 million for a minority stake, that would have been a great investment. Wasn't wrong. Just couldn't put the 10 million together back then. And honestly, if I knew people, they weren't going to give me the money anyway. And it didn't make any sense. It was a stupid thing. I was young. And even though you're older, you can still be just as dumb. Trust me. But yeah, everything on the list there, it didn't happen within a year, but everything happened except for the jiu-jitsu, which I do regret. But that's all right. That's probably better. It might have been better for me at some stages in Boston where I didn't think I was good at fighting. So I was like, you're probably going to get your ass kicked here. If I actually thought I were tougher, then who knows what would have happened.
Maybe judo is more your speed.
No, not doing that.
Okay.
People are surprised that you're not into the MMA scene though, or not the scene, but that you don't spar yourself. Like, you kind of look like a guy that would spar, but when people ask me, like, oh, he's probably tough, right? I'm like, actually, he doesn't like fight professionally or anything, or even amateur. Like, he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would think I was a professional fighter. I think people would
you got to
figure that
look.
one out
Like,
by
let's
now.
be honest. You're a tough looking dude. You're bald. You got a beard. Like, you look kind of like a fighter.
Yeah, I don't claim any of that stuff. Now, did I work out and keep doing it on my own? Sure, but I wasn't. Oh, there was one other one in Connecticut that I joined, but that was a disaster. It was like for kids, and then I tried to be nice about it for a while. But I told that story already, and it's honestly so embarrassing. Let's end on a positive note. So everybody, there you go. I'm not going to do a Kevin Garnett's Nothing is Possible, but if I could feel that way at an airport in San Francisco, I think in 2008, then you can get your shit done too. All right. Life Advice was brought to you by VA. Sometimes life advice involves hard choices, but VA believes in making easy choices to help you live well, like choosing V8 to up your daily veggie intake while getting vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. I got to side with V8 on this one. They must see all this juicing and all the stuff that's blown up over the last few years being like, guys, oh, you guys are drinking juice now? Drinking cold juice in the morning? Get your day going? Like, where you been? We're V8. We've been here. Okay, Bill and I will be back next week, but the Russillo pod will be Tuesday, Friday for next week. So please subscribe. Tell everybody to subscribe, and that way you won't miss any episodes. I also jumped on this podcast called Pardon My Take. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's pretty good, so check that one out as well.